Well, welcome back into the studio for week 3. I can't believe we're already on week 3 of Seek, Gather, Create. So this week it is something red. So I have this Theriault red, my favorite red, but I have this Autumn Fire, which is more of a rusty red. So I pulled those out. And then a leaf, and these are printables by, I think these are Lisa Heinzel printables. I'll link it below. So these are, of course, leaves and something smooth. So I have this piece of film that has a blueprint or plat printed on it. So it is smooth, the plastic is. And it also has repeating elements in it. Dashed line, this line, these dots. So I'm gonna use this for something smooth and a repeating element. So that is what I've gathered together. And I am going to be working once again in my little gratitude journal, which is this old children's book. So let's get into it, diving on in. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I've pulled out my IKEA paper. This is the paper that you get from IKEA when you buy something fragile and they wrap it up in it. I love this stuff. It kind of melts onto the page, and I love to build up collage. It just creates such a nice texture and does really awesome things with when you add paint and other items to it. So I'm gonna get started by wrinkling this up and collaging it down. And in the midst of that, I decided to go ahead and glue one more page down in the book. So it's one less page, and it makes it a little bit more thick.
And fill them up when no one was around. We saw them coming, we saw them go. In this little town there is always someone alone. In the fall, dogs start barking, your body is set to escape. And after all, you want nothing more than to rest your head and dream to astray. But someone here would like you to stay.
And I realized that I tried to leave some of that text that was part of the book page showing, because I love how that peeks through, but I realized it was all down at the bottom. And so I did come in with some vintage book text and add that for additional text, as well as an old, I think it's a vintage receipt or a payment stub, something like that. And then I'll go ahead and collage those down as well, just so I have some different text that's showing not just at the bottom of the layout.
Light up a fire, let everyone know. The sooner the better, they all want to go. We dance till the morning, or dance till we drop. When morning starts rising, we leave them with all that is ours. the stars by the sea. We all come from somewhere, we all have a doubt. We're chasing perfection, but we'll never figure it out.
Now I'm gonna come in with this chalky gesso and a light green, and I'm gonna add that to the page and then brayer over it. So what it's gonna do is it's just gonna catch on the high points. So any of the texture that is the highest, it's gonna catch most of that paint on.
After all, you want nothing more than to rest your head and dream to astray. But someone here would like you to stay.
And similarly, I'm gonna come in with some Paper Artsy Fresco paint, which is just a chalk paint, in Haystack, and also brayer that down.
And all the umbrellas were stuck in the ground. The rain came and filled them up when no one was around. We saw them coming.
This time I'm going to come in with that same Paper Artsy Fresco paint, but this time in Autumn Fire. And I'm going to apply this really thin with a very watered down brush and just let it move into the crevices of that texture that's already on the page.
Your body is set to escape. And after all, you want nothing more than to rest your head and dream to astray. But someone here would like you to stay.
Wasn't really sure how I was going to use this acetate on the page, and it took me a bit to think it through. At first I was thinking maybe I'll adhere it with some eyelets or brads, and then it dawned on me to kind of mimic the darkness of the print on the acetate with some black fibers. So I thought I'll sew that on, and that is what I do. These beautiful leaves were created by Lisa Heinzel, and I have her, all of her information down below, a link to her shop. And these are jelly braille leaves, and they're one of her printables, and they're just gorgeous. And once I heard that one of the prompts was a leaf, singular a leaf, I knew I needed to pick one out. And I'm so ready for fall. In Arizona, it's monsoon season, and we are getting a little bit cooler, but I miss some of the things that you have when you're from back east or the Midwest. I miss fall. We have a fall here. It's just nothing like the fall is back there. And although fall is my favorite, one of my favorite seasons, I also love book spines. These are vintage book binding pieces. So as I pull books apart, sometimes I get caught up in what is left over and I save them. And so I'm going to use this as part of my focal point along with that leaf.
In the fall, ducks start barking, your body is set to escape. And after all, you want nothing more than to rest your
have to admit, I really futzed around with this a lot. I was having difficulties on where the placement of the little sentiment was going to go. And I altered that sentiment. It just wasn't positive enough for me, so I just pulled out the word death. So that broke it apart, which I needed to do anyways because it was kind of long. But I kind of make a decision on where I want it to go. And then I had to fight. I'm constantly fighting with my Barely Arts glue bottle and keeping the top open. For some reason it gets clogged all the time. I do have a needle in it, so I'm not quite sure what's going on, but I continually fight with it. I've got to find a solution to that. If you have any suggestions, please comment below.
In this little town there is always someone alone. In the fall, dogs start barking, your body is set to escape. And after all, you want nothing more than to rest your head and dream to astray. But someone here would like you to stay. Light up a fire, let everyone know. The sooner the better, they all want to go. We dance till the morning, or dance till we drop. When morning starts rising, we leave them with all that is ours. Down by the water, we set them all free. Your glowing eyes glitter like the stars by the sea. We all come from somewhere, we all have a doubt. We're chasing perfection, but we'll never figure it out. Somehow we lost it all. In the fall, dog starts barking, your body is set to escape. And after all, you want nothing more than to rest your head and dream to astray.